Well, Israel says it's preparing a full-scale land, air and sea invasion of Gaza, the next stage of its military offensive against Hamas. It's unclear, though, when that will happen. Israel has killed at least 2,329 Palestinians in its bombing campaign on Gaza since last Saturday. 724 of them were children, and the death toll keeps rising. 1,300 Israelis have been killed in Hamas's military operation, including some 286 soldiers. The combined death toll makes this conflict the deadliest on both sides of all 5 Gaza conflicts. Meanwhile, hundreds of thousands of Palestinians are making their way south, a dangerous journey through a war zone. Israel has ordered more than 1.1 million Palestinians to leave their destroyed neighborhoods in the north. Water and electricity have now run out for 2.3 million people after Israel imposed its total siege. Aid workers say hospitals will run out of fuel within 2 days, with devastating consequences for thousands of patients. Hospitals and clinics are overwhelmed. The health ministry says 70% of the population in northern Gaza has no access to medical treatment since the UN Palestinian Refugee Agency evacuated its centres. This video shows a paramedic responding to an attack in southern Gaza. That's where Israel had ordered Palestinians to flee for their own safety. Israel denies targeting the area. Well, let's get the latest now on the situation inside Gaza. Jamila Abu Zanouna joins us now on the phone from Khan Yunis in the southern Gaza Strip. Jamila, I understand you live in Gaza City, but you've had to flee with your own family and with so many others. I'm glad that you're safe. I understand you're now in a shelter in the south. Can you talk us through what conditions are like?
Yes, today is the 3rd day of staying at a UN shelter in the south of Gaza in Khan Yunis. Where now about 20,000 people are staying here, and even more are coming, or still coming. It's really, it's after we have been forced to flee and evacuate our houses, our homes in Gaza, and we went south, not knowing what's going to happen later. But as you said earlier, it's happening. They're launching a land attack. This is the next phase. It's another 1948 diaspora. So it's happening again. The world is seeing this, but still nothing is changing.
Jamila,
in my situation...
Sorry, I was just wanting to ask, you said 20,000 people are sheltering there with you. I mean, that's a huge number. Can you talk us through what you're seeing there around you?
It's devastating to try to describe, actually. We've been sleeping on the floor, literally. We have no access to clean water, no electricity, even no clean bathrooms, for instance. Even food is very limited. All the supplies are limited. And we have to mention that most of the people here, of the displaced people, are infants, children, and elderly people who need urgent assistance, medical assistance.
Jamila, we've also been hearing that there have been strikes on people as they've been fleeing the northern part of the Gaza Strip. What do you know about that?
It's true. Yesterday, one of the families who evacuated, who came to the shelter we were in, they're saying that they evacuated the last minute, and other people who were fleeing after them were completely bombarded while they were on the way. So it's not safe. They say they're making ceasefires for people to give people a chance to flee their homes to the south, but still there is no safety.
Jamila Abu Zanouna there. Jamila, please do stay safe with your family. Thank you for sharing that report with us. We'll be staying in touch with you in the coming hours. Thank you, Jamila. Well, Hamas is continuing to fire rockets from Gaza into southern Israel. Warning sirens have sounded across Israel, with people in the coastal city of Tel Aviv and the surrounding towns there taking shelter. Well, let's now go to Al Jazeera's Charles Stratford. He's in Sderot in southern Israel. Charles, there has been more movement by the Israeli military overnight. What's been happening?
Well, just to bring you up to date where we are here in Sderot, I suppose the last half an hour or so, it's literally just stopped. But some very heavy and sustained gunfire that we can hear. We estimate probably around about a kilometre from here behind us towards the Gaza border. The Gaza border is around 3 kilometres. Nothing being said about this yet by the Israeli military, but what we do know is that in recent days, or since that initial attack on October the 7th, the Israeli army has been struggling to deal with repeated infiltration attempts by Palestinian fighters from Gaza. That kind of firefight would suggest possibly, although we can't confirm, another infiltration attempt. Meanwhile, we've heard a lot of outgoing. We understand heavy artillery pounding areas of Gaza from areas surrounding us here. And yes, as you say, there have been rockets fired by, that's another, we understand, outgoing. There have been rockets fired overnight, various different places, and this morning. We heard rockets being intercepted last night very loudly in Ashdod. As you mentioned, Tel Aviv, also Ashkelon. So, yeah, the situation remains, obviously, as you can imagine, very unstable here. But it's small arms and heavy gunfire, heavy machine gun fire like that so close to the border that, as I say, would suggest possible new infiltration attempts. But we'll be able to confirm that later.
Charles, we're hearing also about evacuations taking place around where you are. What more can you tell us? And also about the military build-up that we've been seeing towards the border.
That's right. The town of Sderot, the mayor here has repeatedly called for an evacuation. I think for all intents and purposes, he might actually get what he wants today. Around 25 to 30% of the population of Sderot are still here. That's around 7,000 people. I mean, the streets are pretty empty. Those 7,000, if indeed those statistics that we're understanding have been supplied to us by the local authorities are true, then, as you can imagine, most people are staying in their homes. There are buses apparently being laid on collection points in this town. We haven't seen any of those buses yet, but we have spoken to people here, the few civilians that we've seen on the streets, and some of them are saying, some of them are looking for these buses and saying now is the time to get out, and others are refusing to go. We literally a few minutes ago spoke to a man who passed us on his bicycle and said that he didn't want to go, but he would possibly be forced to leave, not by the military, but because there was not much food left. All the shops, as you can imagine, are closed. It's a similar scenario in various towns close to the border as well, an attempt by the military to evacuate the remaining civilians from these areas. And meanwhile, the military build-up continues. Hundreds, possibly thousands of tanks, APC, heavy military equipment that is now moving into positions. We understand possibly forward or more forward operational positions. Some of the areas that we've seen equipment gathering in the last few days is now empty, and they have gone, we understand, into a closed military zone. So all indications are that, yes, after last night's announcement by the military that it was planning such a big offensive into Gaza, it wouldn't be inconceivable if that offensive could start in the hours, certainly the days ahead.
Charles Stratford there with the latest for us on the ground in Sderot in southern Israel. Thank you, Charles.